For the best part of 2 years, we've been hearing of multiple rumours coming from different sources about Sony PlayStation sitting on a mountain of unannounced or unconfirmed games from the likes of Ghosts of Tsushima 2, Bloodborne 2, The Last of Us Part 3, and multiple new AAA games from horror games to action RPG games, sci-fi games, and first-person shooters. Let's take a deep dive into what Sony PlayStation first-party studios are currently reportedly working on and their rumoured projects. Let me know in the comments section down below what games you are most excited for. So starting off with Polyphony Digital, originally an internal development unit named Polyus Entertainment, Polyphony Digital is best known for creating Sony's flagship racing game Gran Turismo. The studio was established in 1998 in Tokyo, Japan, and they only focus on Gran Turismo, having recently provided post-launch support to Gran Turismo 7. I'm sure they're already working on version 8 of the game, and it's worth noting that they've released two Gran Turismo entries for every PlayStation console generation. Therefore, before the end of the PS5 life cycle, I would expect another Gran Turismo. Whether it's Gran Turismo Sport or Gran Turismo 8, we should be getting the next entry. Moving on to Team Asobi, they rose from the ashes of Japan Studio, initially an internal group building tech demos and onboarding software such as the Playroom. It brought us Astrobot Rescue Mission for PSVR and is now best known for the PS5 packing game Astro's Playroom, which, by the way, if you haven't played it, it was absolutely fantastic. And it was free with the PS5. Team Asobi, they were established in 2021 and are based in Tokyo, Japan. With regards to its current projects, Team Asobi is growing. Their studio is staffing up for a 3D action game. It's almost certainly some sort of follow-up to Astro's Playroom, but nothing's really been confirmed at this stage. It seems likely the game will support PSVR 2 as well. Next up, we have Firesprite Studios, which was initially formed by developers from Studio Liverpool, which is an old Sony studio that closed down in 2012. Firesprite is most famous for the persistence and supporting Sony on the Playroom and the Playroom VR. This is now SIE's largest UK-based studio, established in 2013, located in Liverpool, England. Their projects include helping Guerrilla Games with the PSVR 2 launch game Horizon Call of the Mountain, but rumours are also circulating that they're working on a dark horror AAA game because of job listings on Firesprite's website which tell of a dark story-driven horror game. They're also rumoured to be working on a AAA multiplayer action title built using Unreal Engine 5. This could be a AAA PvP action shooter as a live service game. They're also reportedly working on a new AAA narrative adventure game, so quite a lot happening there at Firesprite Studios. Be good to learn a little bit more about some of these games, maybe some more reveals, maybe a state of play, but certainly more information needed so we can get more excited about some of these projects that Firesprite are working on. Next up, we have Guerrilla Games, creators of the Killzone franchise and acquired by Sony following the release of Shellshock Nam 67 in 2005. Guerrilla Games is one of SIE's most technically capable studios. It's known best for Horizon Zero Dawn, which runs on the studio's own Decima engine. Guerrilla Games were established in the year 2000 and they're located in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. Guerrilla Games have just recently finished working on Horizon Call of the Mountain in collaboration with Firesprite Games for the PSVR 2. And it also recently mentioned a Horizon online co-op game and a mobile spin-off game which is also currently in the works. There's also talks of a Horizon remaster, which I've got to be honest, I'm not a big fan of due to the game only being out about 5 years. The original Horizon game came out in 2017 and as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't really need a remaster right now. There are currently no talks of any other type of AAA or new IP games coming from Guerrilla Games. Their focus is Horizon and the Horizon world, which is why rumours continue to persist of a Horizon 3 game in the near future. They're also working on massive new style online live service multiplayer game set within the Horizon world, which Bungie Studio are consulting and advising on. In fact, I'll cover Bungie and their involvement with live service within the PlayStation Studio setup. Guerrilla Games are also supporting Sony productions on an upcoming Netflix TV show set in the Horizon world. So as you can imagine, with all this going on, it looks as though Guerrilla Games' plate is absolutely full with the Horizon franchise, and I think their focus over the next few years will be just that world. Next up, we have the newly acquired Housemarque. Finnish developer Housemarque has worked closely with Sony for over a decade. The studio specializes in arcade-like action game, bringing us titles such as Super Stardust HD, Rosogun, and of course the latest work, which was the brilliant Returnal game released on the Sony PlayStation 5 back in 2020. The success of Returnal had pushed Sony to acquire the team in 2021. The studio was established in 1995 and they are located in Helsinki in Finland. Following the success of Returnal, Housemarque is currently staffing up for its next game. Rumours suggest that their next game is going to be a brand new AAA title and will not be a sequel to Returnal just for now. Perhaps they can come back to Returnal and make a Returnal 2 later in the future, but their focus right now is a brand new AAA title, and that's what they're focusing on and staffing up for. It should be noted that the studio rarely makes sequels, but in the case of Returnal, due to its success on the PlayStation 5, it looks like they will make that at some point in the future, just not right now. Moving on to London Studio. SIE London Studios have gone through multiple iterations over the years, but it's perhaps best known for its work on Sony's most family-friendly brands like SingStar and iPet. Its latest game was the PSVR action title Blood and Truth, established in 1993, located in London, England. Now, their current project is a mystery right now, but job listings do give us a vague idea of what to expect. They have several openings mentioning an up-and-coming PlayStation 5 online game, which will be a brand new IP. It seems as this will be a live service multiplayer game, with one job listing describing it as an online co-op combat game set in modern fantasy London. This lines up with the artwork released last year, and it's very interesting to learn more about what the studio is working on. Again, like I mentioned before, I hope we get a state of play showcase. Failing that, just give us a damn blog post, just tell us what's happening with some of these studios. But very excited to learn more about what London Studio is working on. Next, we have Media Molecule, the makers of the Little Big Planet franchise and one of Sony's most imaginative studios. Media Molecule was acquired by Sony in 2010 following the success of Sackboy's inaugural adventure. Established in 2006, located in Guildford, England, Media Molecule has been committed to development work and updates on Dreams, its ambitious and powerful creation suite. The game, which lets users make practically anything you want with an innovative set of tools, receives regular updates, new content and in-game events on an ongoing basis. The developer does make the occasional original game within Dreams, such as Ancient Dangers, A Bat's Tale, but it's unlikely that they'll be producing anything else traditional for the foreseeable future. Moving on to Nixxes Software. Nixxes is best known for its talents in porting large-scale console games to PC. With Sony delving into the PC space, it makes perfect sense to bring a specialist team in-house. Nixxes Software was established in 1999 and they're located in Utrecht in the Netherlands. Nixxes is primarily concerned with porting first-party PlayStation games to PC, so they'll be working on converting these games or porting these games to the PC platform. And with PlayStation set to release more of its PS5 games onto the PC platform in the near future, you can be rest assured that Nixxes will be very, very busy in development work. They need to do more because some of the games that have been ported over to PC have had mixed reactions, and they should be doing better. So that's something for them to take into consideration when porting games. They've got to be to the same standard as what games are like when they're released on the PS5. Okay, next up we have Savage Game Studios. Savage Game Studios comprises a pair of development teams committed to producing high quality action games for the mobile platform. Sony acquired the studio in 2022 as part of a new PlayStation Studios mobile division established in 2020. Now they're located in a few different locations across across Helsinki in Finland and across Berlin in Germany. Project Y Savage is currently developing a new AAA unannounced mobile live service action game. Moving on to Xdev, they work with external developers across the globe on PlayStation published projects. Some previous examples of their games and support include Until Dawn, which was made by Supermassive Games, and Detroit Become Human, which was made by Quantic Dream. Xdev were established in 2000 and are located in Liverpool, England. And the current projects for Xdev include working with third parties on games like Rise of the Ronin and Stellar Blade. Really keen to see how Rise of the Ronin plays. Set in Japan, it gives me all of the Ghosts of Tsushima vibes that I crave right now whilst we wait for Ghosts of Tsushima 2. Next up we have Bend Studio, infamously created Busby 3D for the PS1 before moving on to the magnificent Siphon Filter series, a gaming franchise that I fell in love with back in, for me, the PS2 era. The studio was acquired by Sony in 2000, historically focused on portable games. The team broke back into the AAA territory with Days Gone on the PS4, established in 1993, located in Bend, Oregon, USA. All that's known right now about the studio's current projects is that Bend is making a new open world game, and it won't be a Days Gone sequel. Their new AAA game is supposedly meant to build upon the open world systems that were used in the original Days Gone game. So Days Gone, for those people that haven't played it, is a massive game. It is so underrated. It got some negativity when it first launched due to some bugs, but those issues at launch were quickly fixed. And seriously, if you haven't played the game, go back, play Days Gone. You'll love it. It's fantastic. Anyway, really keen to see what Bend Studio are currently working on, especially if they're using the open world systems from Days Gone. Moving on to Bluepoint Games. Now, Bluepoint Games has had a very close relationship with Sony for many, many years, producing original games as well as remakes and remasters of beloved PlayStation classics. Famous for its work on Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection, Shadow of the Colossus, and Demon Souls, Sony scooped up this talented team late in 2021. The studio was established in 2006 and they're located in Austin, Texas, USA. Despite a history of excellent remakes and remasters, Bluepoint is actually in fact currently working on an original game. Whether that turns out to be a whole new IP or a sequel to something more established is yet to be seen. Now, there have been rumours for well over 2 years now that Bluepoint Games has a Bloodborne remaster for the PS5, along with working on a brand new Bloodborne 2 game. These rumours will not go away, and I feel the only way to put this to bed is if Bluepoint Games come out and confirm what their new project is. What is the new IP or new game that they're working on? Colin Moriarty came out in 2021 and made a comment about hearing something through the grapevine that he has it on good authority that Bluepoint Games is in development on a Bloodborne remaster and a sequel. Either way, they did a stellar job with Demon Souls, so I'm really excited to see what they are capable of producing if they are left alone to come up with a brand new project. Very excited for Bluepoint Games. Moving on to Firewalk Studios. Now they're a fairly young development studio, but amongst its staff are some real industry veterans. Some of its staff previously worked for the likes of Bungie, Respawn Entertainment, Raven Software, and many other studios. Having announced a partnership with PlayStation in 2021, Sony fully acquired the team in 2023. Established in 2018 in Bellevue, Washington, USA, Firewalk Studios is currently developing an online multiplayer game, which will be a brand new IP. Firewalk Studios confirmed that they're working on a brand new game called Concord. This was announced during the last PlayStation showcase. Concord is a PvP multiplayer first-person shooter which will be coming to the PS5 and PC in 2024. Really need to see more about this game. Don't really know much about it. We had the announcement, but I haven't really seen actual gameplay footage, so need to know a little bit more about the gameplay before we can really form an opinion. Okay, next we have Haven Studios, a brand new studio led by Jade Redmond. Famed for her work on the Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs series, the developer has yet to release a game, but has been scooped up by Sony as the team works on its debut project. The studio was established in 2021, and they're located in Montreal, Canada. Their current projects for Haven Studios includes developing a new IP exclusively for PlayStation. All that we know so far is that it will be a live service multiplayer game. We also know that they have developed a form of cloud technology or cloud software which improves the efficiency of game development lifecycle and improves the process of game development. Their cloud system allows multiple developers to simultaneously change, edit, contribute sections of the game, whether that is level development, specific coding, player characterization, controller development, or anything else. But the beauty is that all the devs can do this more or less in real time. This sounds fascinating, and I would love to learn more about this cloud technology, which Sony is very excited about rolling out across their wider first-party portfolio of studios. Moving on to Insomniac Games, famed for PlayStation exclusive series such as Ratchet & Clank and Resistance, the developer has felt like part of the first-party family all along, with Marvel's Spider-Man and Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales being huge, phenomenal hits. It's no wonder Sony scooped the studio up in 2019. The studio was established in 1994 and they're located in Burbank, California, USA. Insomniac is sticking with Marvel for its next couple of games. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is currently in the works for the PS5, scheduled for release in October. In fact, next month. Cannot wait. Beyond that, a separate team at Insomniac is working on a darker Marvel's Wolverine game exclusively for the PS5. Job listings also hint at a multiplayer title of some kind. And we've also heard rumours that Insomniac are working on a mysterious new AAA game. Could this be the reported job listings of a multiplayer game, or is this something completely different, something new? All I know is that Insomniac right now are absolutely delivering. They seem to be on another level in terms of output and game quality. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart was brilliant when it launched on the PS5, showcasing some of the qualities of the PS5 and the speed of the SSD. Spider-Man 2018 was absolutely amazing. Miles Morales gave me that Spider-Man fix I needed after completing the 2018 game. Spider-Man 2 releases next month, and that is just going to be the game of the year contender for me. From the bits of gameplay that I've seen, it looks absolutely fantastic and epic. We then have a darker, more atmospheric Wolverine game, which I suspect probably won't be out until 2025. If it comes out in 2024, I would be shocked. It just seems so soon. So that leaves a gap in 2024. What could Insomniac release then, if indeed it has anything to release? We're very interested to learn more about what Insomniac are doing. They are absolutely on fire at the moment. They're releasing banger after banger. I'm very excited to learn more about what Insomniac are going to release over the coming months and years ahead. Very exciting time. Moving on to Naughty Dog, perhaps the most famous of Sony's studios. Debatable, but I would say it probably is the most famous. Naughty Dog has a long history creating magnificent series such as the Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, Uncharted, and The Last of Us series. The studio was acquired in 2001. It was first, in fact, established in 1984 and located in Santa Monica, California, USA. Having released The Last of Us Part 1 for PS5, the studio is working on a standalone multiplayer game set in the Last of Us universe. It's widely accepted that this will build on The Last of Us Part 2's combat to bring a fleshed out factions version of game to life. There are likely to be other projects in the works too, potentially a Last of Us Part 3 or possibly a brand new IP. Neil Druckmann has recently come out to confirm that he is indeed working on a brand new game, but left it at that for people to speculate, neither confirming or denying that The Last of Us Part 3 is in development. However, a couple of years ago, Neil Druckmann himself came out and said he was actually working on a script or a plan for The Last of Us Part 3 and was playing around with the story concept. This was 2 years ago. Back then it was at the concept stage of production, going through the writing and planning part. Now fast forward 2 years later, and I suspect they're ready to move forward to the next stage of production on the game. Considering that the HBO show has now had season 2 signed off, And earlier in the year, there were preliminary discussions that The Last of Us TV show would have either 4 or 5 seasons. I would expect that there would be a Last of Us Part 3, and it would probably coincide with the last season of the TV show to bring both the show and the game to a final conclusion. Cannot wait. Whatever your views and opinions on The Last of Us Part 2, the game was magnificent, and for me, it's the benchmark in the gaming industry. Moving on to San Diego Studio, most famous for the critically acclaimed MLB The Show series, San Diego Studio has previously operated as a studio support for external developers and has also worked on titles like The Mark of Cree and Pain. Established in 2001, located in San Diego, California, USA, San Diego Studios is currently working on the MLB Show 2023. Old rumours suggested it might be helping out on a new Uncharted game, although there's no up-to-date evidence of this at the moment. Although last year, in October 2022, there were strong rumours that San Diego Studio had teamed up with Naughty Dog to remake or remaster an older franchise of games. These rumours were based on job advertisements listing specific details referencing PSS Visual Arts within the advert, and PSS Visual Arts are a support studio of San Diego Studios. So back in October of last year, there was some foundation that San Diego Studio was involved in supporting a beloved franchise reboot or remake. Since then, no one has heard anything about this. Interested to learn if this was just speculation or a false rumour, or whether in fact it was true and Sony's just kept it quiet and they'll release something when we have a state of play or a showcase. Fingers crossed. Moving on to Santa Monica Studio, the creators of the brilliant God of War franchise, previously serving as a support studio for external developers working on exclusive games. This studio was established in 1999 and they are located in LA, California, USA. Santa Monica Studio last released God of War Ragnarok for PS5 and PS4. Strong rumours suggest that there is going to be new content DLC available for God of War Ragnarok, and you can almost guarantee that the studio is thinking about the setting for the next God of War story, as it looks as though they're now done with the Norse mythology. I hope they go to Egypt or Greece with the next God of War franchise. Cory Barlog, studio creative director, is currently working on something else, but what that remains is a mystery for now. The rumoured project he might be working on is a AAA Sci Fi game. No other information has come to light except for a recent developer let slip that the studio is working on a new sci-fi adventure. So could Cory Barlog be working on a new AAA sci-fi game? Either way, a future God of War title will be in the works, especially given the recent success of the 2018 and 2022 God of War games. The only question really is, will they release a DLC for the 2022 God of War Ragnarok game and then move on to a new God of War setting, or will they forget about a DLC to Ragnarok and just push forward with a brand new God of War setting? That is the question. Moving on to Sucker Punch Productions, one-time Nintendo 64 developer. Sucker Punch is the creator of PlayStation fan favourite like Sly Cooper and Infamous. Acquired by Sony in 2011, the studio is best known for the brilliant, the magnificent Ghosts of Tsushima. The studio was established in 1997 and located in Bellevue, Washington, USA. The studio has now finished supporting Ghosts of Tsushima and the Multiplayer Legends spin-off. Future projects include Ghosts of Tsushima 2 and an unannounced AAA new IP currently in development by another team at Sucker Punch Studios. Strong rumours persist that Sucker Punch are well underway with the development work on Ghosts of Tsushima 2, having seen multiple job advertisement listings for developers with knowledge of Ghost of Tsushima combat systems, and listings seeking creators and narrative storytellers who have a strong understanding of Japanese history. For me, Ghost of Tsushima is by far the biggest game I am hyped for. If it is anything like the first game, this for me is Game of the Year winner whenever it comes out. It's fantastic. If you have not played Ghost of Tsushima, where have you been? Go and play it. It's the best game out there, in my opinion. Anyway, guys, moving on to Valkyrie Entertainment. They're a support studio that's worked on a host of key releases for Sony and other publishers. Following its work on God of War, Sony acquired them in late 2021 The studio was established in 2001 and are located in Seattle, Washington, USA. Valkyrie helped Santa Monica Studio bring God of War Ragnarok to life. Beyond that, job listings suggest it has multiple projects in the works, including mobile and console games, and also an unannounced strategy title in the works. Moving on to our next studio, sadly, Pixel Opus was shut down. A small first-party studio formed by university graduates, Pixel Opus focused on creative projects that diversify PlayStation's software portfolio. The studio is best known for Concrete Genie. The studio was established in 2014 and were located in San Mateo, California, USA. And they were hiring for a PS5 game, curiously also being worked on in collaboration with Sony Picture Animations. Some people suggested that this could have been a new Sly Cooper game, while others think the link to Sony Animation Studios means that it could have been a tie-in with upcoming movie Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. However, it's all rather irrelevant now because the studio was shut down in June 2023. Next up, we have Bungie. Sony Interactive Entertainment completed its acquisition of Bungie in July 2022, with Bungie remaining as a multi-platform studio and publisher owned by Sony. We know of at least two projects Bungie is working on. The first is a mobile game set in the Destiny universe. The game is being developed in collaboration with Chinese video game giant NetEase, which was spotted via a job posting back in 2022. The second game, however, they're working on is a brand new IP outside of the Destiny universe called Marathon. This was revealed for the very first time at the PlayStation Showcase in 2023. This is the first completely new project from Bungie in more than a decade. Marathon is a sci-fi PvP extraction shooter where players will embody cybernetic mercenaries known as runners. Bungie are also tasked with supporting all PlayStation first-party studios in an advisory or consulting role with regards to their online service multiplayer modes. All of Sony's first-party games will have an online service multiplayer element, enabling players and gamers to enjoy the world once the single-player campaign has ended. The first-party studios under PlayStation have been tasked to keep the online worlds alive, with lots of interactivity, new features, new maps, daily, weekly and monthly challenges, and various seasons. How each of the PlayStation studios delivers this will be quite fascinating, as they've never done anything like this before, especially to this scale, which is why Sony invested so heavily in acquiring the best of the best when it comes to live service online multiplayer gaming in Bungie. I'm fascinated to see where this leads to and what content PlayStation first party studios put out in the near future, and whether this has an impact on the type of single player games that Sony PlayStation releases. Single player games, as far as I'm concerned, is the bread and butter. That's the staple of the Sony PlayStation catalogue of games. It's what most of their gamers enjoy. The live service bit, if it's done right, and if it's done properly, which is what I imagine Sony are trying to do, it will keep the gamers involved in that game world with the online elements. So it's almost like a bolt-on, right? Fascinating to see. Moving on, a couple of other Sony first-party studios to mention. Fabric Games, who are a support studio to Firesprite, and San Mateo Studio, who are only a support studio. There are also a ton of studios Sony PlayStation is working with for exclusive games, which I won't cover on this video, as they are mainly exclusive development deals and are not games created by Sony first-party studios. There's lots to get excited about if you're a fan of Sony PlayStation games. We have lots of new AAA games coming from Sony PlayStation in the near future. We also have tons of unannounced and secret games currently being developed by PlayStation Studios, which so far haven't been leaked or have made their way to any of the masses. So very excited to learn about what's going on at PlayStation Studios. Let me know in the comments section down below what games you are most excited for. And also let me know, guys, if you think I've missed anything out from the list of games I've mentioned today from Sony first-party studios currently or rumoured to be in development. That's going to do it for the video, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.